Just got home from teaching. Of course, he was awake the whole time I was gone, right?
Every once in a while, the stars align, and right before Amanda comes home, this happens. Now the question is, what do I do now?
You just enjoy the snuggles.
It's true.
So how do you guys feel about books? Has the ebook taken over your life yet? I love ebooks. I think they have their place. They're really useful resources. They're really searchable. However, I never get tired of that heavy feeling of a book in my hand. I love the way books smell. I love thumbing through a book. I love old books with people's handwriting in them. I love books. And I have something really fun to show you today. So the home that we built about 5 years ago had a library in it, and I loved it. And since we sold that home 2 years ago, most of my books have been in boxes. So here they are. So what I want to do today is share with you a couple of ways to organize your books on your bookshelves. It's going to be really fun. So 5 years ago when I set up my library for the first time, I remember doing research and I read that Laura Bush organizes her personal library by the Dewey Decimal System. That's basically what libraries use. They use a 3-digit number to indicate the subject of the book, and then they have a decimal and other numbers to classify exactly which book it's talking about. And the reason why they do this is because it's really easy to add books to your library that way. I thought that was hilarious though, and I don't think it's very practical for a home library unless you have a ginormous one. So one way to organize your library if you're super ambitious, but I don't think I'm going to attempt that one today because it would require a lot of looking up in library databases. All right, so the first way I'm going to try to organize my books is by color. I think I'll do a rainbow across the bookcase. I've always wanted to do that. Okay, that was every bit as time consuming as I thought it was going to be. Now I need to get these books spiffied up. So it seems that a good half of my books are either black or white, but it's pretty fun organizing these and looking at all the beautiful colors on these book covers. I guess I'm not surprised because I have a whole lot of academic books. So there's all the blah white books and very few purple books. More blue and green books. That must just be popular with publishers. And a fair number of red books too. And then of course, lots of black covers. All right, you guys, so the next organization method is gonna be a little bit of a reality check for me. I'm going to divide the books I've read from the books I haven't read. Now, in my field, this is the sort of thing that people lie about. People will say, you've read War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy, right? Oh, of course I've read that. Or they will say, I've read that, but it's been a really long time, which is code for maybe they've read it and it's been a really long time, or maybe they've never read it and they just don't want to admit it. But I'm going to admit, there's a lot of things in here that I have not read. I don't own books just for the sake of owning them. I do intend to read all of these books that I haven't read. So it will be good to see what the ratio is. Books I've read, books I haven't read. Okay, so this actually looks a lot better than I thought it would. And just to clarify, a lot of the things on the right here, so this is what I've read, this is what I haven't read. A lot of the things on the right are big anthologies that I've read something out of. A lot of it I haven't read. I do think this makes me look a lot more well-read than I actually am. For the record, I know a lot of people who are a lot more well-read than I am. I'm an English professor, and so we read a lot, but that doesn't mean I don't have volumes and volumes that I want to read. I think this is a really good way to organize your books just because you can see exactly what you haven't read. Like this Sing Unburied Sing, I've heard so many good things about this. Another one I really want to read is all the light we cannot see. I've heard so many good things about this. So that was kind of a fun exercise, but now I want to get a little bit more practical. So the third way I say that you could organize your books is by genre. I think that this process would look a little bit different for everybody. I'm trying to decide if I want to put children's books on these bookshelves or not. I have a lot of nonfiction and a lot of scholarly books. Since I have so many scholarly texts and so much nonfiction, I think it really will be useful. I'm kind of cracking up looking at the color coded because I've got a kid's book next to a composition textbook, next to neo-Victorian fiction, next to some other old school fiction. It's just kind of a mess, but it looks pretty. Organizing by genre, here we go. So, by category, this up here is actually my special collections. These are vintage books from my great-grandmother. Next, I've got all of the canonical literature. These are classics, so anything that we would study in a literature classroom as a classic. Here in the center, I've got all of the nonfiction, and I actually have this divided by topic. So I've got all of my literary nonfiction together, and then some of my general nonfiction, and then over here I've got all of the popular fiction, and the kids' books here on the bottom. It seems like a pretty logical way to organize books, I think. It's gonna be a beautiful day. You guys excited to eat your donuts? This donut shop, if you don't get there early, they are gone, and they were almost gone. It's been a little bit stressful the last couple days, so I thought we are having some donuts. Which one? Are you ready for a donut? Ooh, see, Mom wants the old-fashioned. Which one are you gonna have, Hudson? You want the maple, and Emmy's got the pink one? Okay, yummy, yummy. You guys don't have to tell me this is the breakfast of champions, I know. I just felt like it was time for a special treat today. My one regret is that the lady in front of me took the last maple bacon bar. I tell you what, this guy is the best little helper with organizing books. He really is. Okay, so the fourth way that you can organize your books is by alphabetizing. And this is a painstaking process, but I think it makes a lot of sense to be able to just go and find what you want really quickly. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Guess what? Desmond is over book organizing. He is so over it. So now everything is alphabetized. Definitely not as pretty as being organized by color, but let me show you what I did. I love having things alphabetized. See, there's all my Jane Austen all together, and it just goes in a row. I know exactly where things are, and it's all neat and tidy. It might not be the most aesthetically pleasing to look at, but it's really helpful. I decided to keep things organized by category and then alphabetize because that made sense to me. But say you had a library with all popular fiction, you could probably just alphabetize the entire thing. All right, so the last way to organize your books is by special request from Shaye, my husband. He loves the trend of turning books backwards. You guys, I don't know about this. I think it looks really pretty, but how do you find your books? I guess if they're alphabetized to begin with, that could help. No one tell Shaye that I said this, but he was right. This does look pretty cool. Of course, the spines of books have a lot of character, but I love that you can see, you know, all the used books in here. I prefer used books over new books. I love the smell of them, and I love that they already have like a story behind them. So there's lots of books that I bought from libraries that say discard. I also love that you can see all the flags. See all the flags on these books? These are all from my undergraduate and graduate school days of just marking all the places I thought were important. I love that you can see those. Are you guys seeing what I'm dealing with? This baby is a climber. He's crazy. Let's put you in your playpen. I know! You want to be held at all times. Oh. Here, buddy. Have a book. Oh, no. So I hope you've enjoyed these 5 different ways to organize your bookshelf. It sure was fun for me just to spend some time with my books. It makes me want to curl up and read one of them with the non-existent spare time that I have. Stay tuned next week for our library reveal. We were so close to being ready this week, but we had some furniture that didn't arrive quite in time, so we wanted to make sure it was just right for that reveal. Thanks so much for watching.